and welcome to Chelsea Chat. We've had a rebranding. My son's helping me out with some of the technical side, so the videos look slightly better. And he's gone mad. He's gone ape, hasn't he? He's changed banners, he's changed the name of the channel, everything. But anyway, Glenn Maney Talks Chelsea is now Chelsea Chat. And I don't know about you, but I am sick and tired of looking on social media at the negativity, really. People, kids, but sometimes grown men, oh, Manchester City have bought Haaland, Liverpool have bought, is it Nunes, and we haven't bought anyone. This is why we're behind them. Oh, you've heard that old saying, are you a glass half full or a glass half empty person? Some of these so-called supporters don't even own a glass. The word cabbage floats past me several times a day, At the end of the day, we've actually been bought for 2 weeks, new owners getting themselves in. I know for a fact that they didn't sit down with Thomas Tuchel until the 9th of June to discuss who they were definitely going for, who they thought was worth it, and what they were going to do about the youngsters come back. I know that for an absolute fact. Don't know a lot for fact about Chelsea. A lot of it's rumour and gossip, but I know that for a fact. So, Haaland was already committed to Manchester City then. His dad played for City, his dad brokered the deal, and it wouldn't have mattered if Haaland had gone for £1 or 100 million, he was always going to Manchester City. End of story. Nunes, not someone we want to buy. Kunde, yeah, we've got an interest in him. Tuchel obviously likes him as a player, but as I've said, 5'10", slight build, centre half, English Premier League, no guarantee that it'd be a success. So should you splash out 60 million on someone that you're not totally sure of? Bowley relies on data, and I'm sure he would have picked that up. I think what we've all got to realise is that we are in a new era, and we were spoilt under Roman, and we're under a business plan now where players are bought based on obviously managers' wishes, but data as well, and if they're at the right price. So I think we all just need to calm down and just accept it for what it is. And if you really don't like it, go support another club, I guess. I know a lot of people will do that, but us lot that have got blue blood, we can't. And I know it can be frustrating when you're reading the news, but half of it's not news anyway. I mean, Tuchel would have sat down with Bowley and give him a list of targets and why we need them. And you only miss out on a player if you wanted him in the first place. I've just seen on Twitter this morning, it looks like we're going to miss out on Jesus. Well, we are if we wanted him, but if we didn't want him in the first place, how have we missed out? I don't get that. And who are we relying on for saying we wanted him in the first place? The Daily Mail or the Sun, or even the Daily Sport? It's one of them, isn't it? If we want a player, yeah, we've missed out if we don't get him. But just basing missing out on rumours is crazy. Just beating yourself up. And Bowley is going to go on data and also what Tuchel wants. He's not going to say, looks like we're going to miss out on Jesus. Yeah, but Tommy Tuchel didn't want him. He wanted to give Brozier a run next year. He just thought it might save us some money, and he wanted to spend the budget that we've got on the defence. Oh, Bowley won't go. Are you sure? Because I've just looked on Twitter and look, Danny from Putney, who's puts UPVC windows in, he's a window fitter, he reckons Jesus will turn our season round next year. Well, how many UEFA qualifications has he got? Well, he ain't got any qualifications, but he's enough stick in a good bit of double glazing. You know, it's we've all got our opinions and we're all entitled to them, yeah. But some of the negativity is unbelievable. And when you really break it down, you know, do you trust your manager or not? Nothing you can do about it, so why just go on social media and just be negative? You know, I honestly don't get it. I really don't get it. You know, you go on Facebook and there's people saying, oh, if we're going to catch City in, if we're going to do this, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. They should go get the UEFA badges. Go get the UEFA badges, work their way up the ladder, and then see if it's as easy as that when you get to the top. We are being run on a business model now, and we've all got to accept it, and we've got to get behind the club. We've got to get behind Tuchel, and in 3 or 4 years, if it's not working, you can start to voice your dissatisfaction in the board or the manager. But let's give them time. We're a week, or well, 2 weeks now into the transfer window, and most of the players are on holiday. Some of the agents are on holiday, and yeah, Haaland was a done deal months ago apparently. Liverpool, they've gone for Nunes, they targeted him, so they would have missed out if they hadn't got him, and it's to replace Sadio Mane, and I don't think he's going to do that, to be honest, but you know, Liverpool are pretty good at recruiting, so who knows. But yeah, you know, oh, you know, Peter the plumber from Bexley Heath disagrees with you, Thomas. He says that if we don't do this, if we don't buy Rice and we don't buy, was it Nanuku? I'm not convinced to be a good signing, and we haven't signed Kunde yet, even though he's had an injury. He should stick a contract under him while he's being operated on. There you go. Oh, come on, folks. Let's think this through, eh? We're going to go through a grieving process without Romans Dosh, but let's have a bit of patience. So we need a bit of patience. We need a bit of patience. Remember the old days when we didn't get all worked up like this? Didn't get our little knickers in a twist or throw our toys out the pram because a week into the transfer window, Chelsea hadn't bought anyone. Let's hope when we do buy someone, it's quality. And I can go back to Facebook and Twitter and not think, cabbage. I'm probably being a bit unfair calling them cabbages. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all supporters. We've all got the club, you know, and the team at heart, but I just don't understand how they think being totally negative all the time helps anyone. Club ain't going to listen, are they? They don't give a monkey's about Mickey Mitchum, what he thinks. They pay one of the best coaches in Europe a lot of money to make us a success, and we've all got our opinions, we're all entitled to them, but they're not going to listen to us. They're not going to listen to us. And I know when I read some of these things on Facebook, I think to myself, who's going to listen to them anyway? It's crazy. We need to get back to supporting. That's what we need to do. In my humble opinion, people say, "Why listen to him? He's a twat." and they got a fair point. They got a fair point. I can't argue with it. It's just an opinion from someone who loves the club. So we should all respect each other, and we should respect the club. Give them a chance to work, because Roman's gone. Those days ain't coming back. Trust me. So while we're all sitting round doing nothing, reading negativity, I thought, right, what video can we do? And I saw a couple of really good questions asked on Facebook actually. One was, What Chelsea player do you think was really underrated, and what player do you think didn't really reach their full potential? And it's weird because literally, as I was thinking about that, a video came up on YouTube about just the player I would pick if I had to say what Chelsea player didn't reach their full potential, and it was Oscar. So I thought I'd have a little bit of a closer look to his life and his time at Chelsea and his career, because he's 30 now, 31 in September, and see if I could see why he went, why he took the money, and was he really the potential superstar that he was made out to be at the start of his career? Remember, it was Oscar and Neymar were Brazil's, shining lights. So here we go. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. Oscar dos Santos Mboba Jr. Probably said Mboba wrong. Born 9th of September 1991 in rural Brazil, to be exact, Americana, in the state of Sao Paulo. And Oscar and his family were living quite a nice life. He had two sisters, and his dad was working. His mum was a stay-at-home mum, and everything was hunky-dory. And then when Oscar was 3 years old, his father died in a car crash, sadly, and had no insurance, left them basically with no money. So times then went from being like a nice middle class sort of family into basically abject poverty. Now Oscar's mum started up her own clothing business and sold clothes to the locals, but I doubt if it was I don't think it was sort of Marks and Spencer standards. So yeah, I'm not sure they were exactly saved by that, but it kept food on the table. So well done, Oscar's mum. It was quite tasty, actually, I've got to say. So the family suddenly had no income. His mum was making clothes, but Oscar was beginning to blossom as a footballer with a local boys club. And at 14, he was signed by the local club, Sao Paulo. And yeah, people was talking about him as being a potential world star because he was that good. Played for the young Brazil side. At 16, he made his debut for Sao Paulo and become quite a fixture in their team. But the trouble was, they got his mum to sign a contract that he wasn't particularly happy with, and then when him and his mum argued against this contract, she just signed anything. It was just, she got a bit of upfront money, and it was enough to get the family through. Oscar wasn't happy about it, and he told the club so. So they stopped his wages, and they didn't pay him for a year. And after that year, he said, "No, enough's enough. Our villagers, they're living with clothes that don't fit them." No, he said, "Enough's enough." And he said, "I'm a free agent because you're not paying me, so the contract's void." And he joined Internationale. So things started to look up. He had a year in there under 23s, but then he got in the first team, and well, first 3 games, scored in every single one. And again, he just glided into a different standard of football and didn't look out of place. Oh, at 17 he married his childhood sweetheart, by the way, and they're still together today. Well done, you two. You know, when you think of all the stresses and strains, I know they earn good money, but when you think they're away a lot and that sort of thing, for a marriage to last that long, that's pretty damn good, isn't it? Got 2 children of their own now as well. So anyway, they won the championship with Internationale, and yeah, he was also playing for Brazil. We went to the under-20s World Cup with Brazil, which they won, and him and Neymar were the standout players. Oscar got 3 goals. When he got back at the Copa de Americanos was due to be played. That's their cup final, and Internazionale wanted him to play, but by that time Sao Paulo had actually won the court case. Seems bizarre, but I think in Brazil it's how much you pay the judge. But anyway, they'd won the court case, so he was their player. So Internazionale had a decision to make, and they made it, and they made him the 4th most expensive player in Brazilian club football history when they signed him for €6 million. So he was their player, scored in the final, which they won, and happy days. He only played 5 more games for Internazionale because he got signed by Chelsea. Chelsea paid €32 million for him. It was a no-brainer for Internazionale, and so we got the Oscar that we all remember. He went to the Olympic Games, the 2012 Olympic Games with Brazil, and every game I think he only got 1 goal, but he either scored or assisted, and every single goal in that tournament for Brazil, which they lost in the final to Mexico, every single goal was either scored or assisted by Neymar or Oscar for Brazil. That's quite a stat, isn't it? So Oscar was at Chelsea, and he scored 2 goals on his debut against Juventus, and in the Champions League particularly he done well. 3 goals and 1 assist in the 2012-13 season, although we failed to get out the knockout stage. I remember that was a year after we won it, wasn't it? Yeah, and we went out in the group stages. But he played 64 games either as substitute or a starter in that season, so yeah, money well spent. When you think of it now, €32 million is peanuts really, isn't it? And of course in 2013 he was a part of the Europa League final. He hadn't played much in the knockout, but he played in the final. And he went away with Brazil straight after to the Confederations Cup, which they won. And along with Neymar, he starred. In 2013-14, of course, Mourinho came back to the club, and in that year, Oscar, he had 5 assists in the Champions League, but then got left out of the semi-final, which you may remember we lost. And the only people who had more of a contribution to that Champions League, assist-wise, were Ronaldo and Arjen Robben. 2014 World Cup come along, and he was part of the. Well, he got 3 goals in the group, and it looked like Brazil were sailing along. They were at home, but he was also part of that infamous Brazil team that lost 7-1 to the Germans, and some say a lot of those Brazilians never got over it, although to be fair, Thiago Silva seems to have recuperated quite well. But Oscar and the rest of the team, they got death threats and all sorts as Brazil went berserk. Oh, what a world we live in. 2014-15 we signed Cesc Fabregas, and that meant that Oscar had to play a little bit wider, which he didn't really like, and he said that he prefers playing down the middle as a straight sort of number 10. But he got Lampard's 8 shirt, and in that season he got 6 goals and 7 assists in 16 matches. So the stats are brilliant, really, aren't they? Then he got a severe head collision against Arsenal. Yeah, I remember that. I remember the all bandaged up, and it was a while before he played again. Then when he did come back, he got a thigh injury and he was out for 4 months. And that was really him. The following year he sat on the bench a lot, watching Chelsea win the league. And to cap it all off, back in Brazil, his cousin, who was 20, died in a motorcycle accident, and they were really close. They were like brothers, and Oscar was devastated by it. And a lot of people said that Oscar's mentality changed when he stood at the funeral that day, because he remembered his dad, he remembers how quickly things can change, and he remembered the time when his mum and his two sisters and him had no money at all, and something inside him just sort of changed, which you can understand in a way. You don't realise the psychology behind some of these players. You think they're robots, don't you? But they're only human beings. Anyway, he got a bit of playing time the following year. Mourinho was a big fan because because Oscar would put a shift in defensively. He once made 8 slide tackles in a game, and his defensive stats were through the roof for an offensive player. So obviously Mourinho loved him. I think Tuchel would have loved him as well. So he was happy at the club, but he became a bench player and dropped out of the national side. Mourinho left, and the following season he played 1 match by January. So when Shanghai SPI came in with a €60 million offer to Chelsea, Oscar was only 25 years old at this time, and they offered him €104 million over 4 years. That's 26 million euros a year, £20 million a year. You couldn't. He didn't say no to it, and to be fair, you'd have to be pretty confident of your ability, which obviously at this time, not getting into the side and having everything happen personally, he wasn't confident, so he took the money and run basically, and Chelsea were rubbing their hands. 60 million quid for a bench player. Happy days. Now, Chinese football was going through a sort of renaissance. All big business were ploughing in money, millions and millions and millions, to try and make the Chinese league one of the best in the world, and they brought all sorts of superstars in. Remember Hulk going over there, is it Witzel? Load of them went over there, and Oscar was just part of that trend, and they did have a great standard of living over there. Let's be right about it. They didn't just get the money; they got put in brilliant apartments, and it was just a excellent way of life. I know what you're thinking. Did his mum's business close, and were the villagers a lot better dressed at this time? I don't know. I'll be honest. I think we can assume so. So rather than giving up and looking at it like a retirement over there in the Chinese league, Oscar's stats have been excellent, and he's been putting in an awful lot of work, real hard work, to try and get to the sort of fitness levels you need to make a comeback in Europe. Atletico Madrid, Juventus, and literally a month ago Barcelona have shown interest in Oscar. I think Barcelona just want a Chelsea veterans 11. But 31 this year, you think to yourself, if he's coming on a free, it might be worth us having a little nibble if he's still got half the ability that he had. I don't know. You have to let me know what you think. Maybe I'm just living in nostalgia land. Certainly shut up all these guys just saying, well, we haven't bought anyone yet. It'd give them another reason to be even more negative, wouldn't it? Oh dear. Careful what you wish for, Glenn. So far, right as we stand, his career stats are 444 games, 107 goals and 155 assists. Pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. 1 in 4 games he scores, and 1 in 3.5 he makes an assist. That's pretty good stats. So that was it, Oscar. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of nostalgia at one of our players who I personally think never reached his full potential. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe to the channel, and please throw the video a like, even if you don't want to subscribe, because it helps me apparently. My son's on my case now as well. Okay, thanks for watching. Speak to you soon. Up to Chelsea.